Hi, I'm Tom Jackson, a developer here at Bossa Studios, and this is the Island Creator for Worlds Adrift, a free app I've been working on that is available to everyone. The purpose is to encourage creation of unique and meaningful parts of the Worlds Adrift universe by you, the community. We are a relatively small team, and our game requires a universe with thousands of unique islands. So as well as procedural generation, we want to give you, the players, the opportunity to shape the game world firsthand. This means you'll be able to create unique islands that may be selected to be part of the game world for everyone to discover. Furthermore, we are leveraging Steam Workshop to create a hub where all community creations will exist for you to test and rate right within the creator. Now, let's show you how easy it is to create your own island. The app is divided into 5 areas that are accessible by the buttons in the toolbar along the top. When you first start, the only one available to you will be the Terrain tab. Here is where you can define the base shape of the island and generate the 3D model. The base shape is made out of what we call generators. You can add different shape generators by clicking here. Normal generators create mass roughly within the defined shape, and subtractive ones carve out areas of the island. Each one can be moved, rotated, and resized to create some interesting forms for the base of your island. In the global settings here, we can make alterations that affect the overall island surface. All of these values will control how noise is used to give the island a unique and worn look that is applied on top of the base shapes that you defined with your generators. Once we've set the values up, simply click Generate to see your island's base shape appear in the viewport. Now that we have something to play with, the other sections of the creator have opened up. We'll work through from left to right explaining what each one does. The Sculpt tab allows you to perform edits to the island mass by carving, adding, and flattening. Carving like this is useful for creating tunnels, digging caves, and tasks like removing extraneous parts of the terrain. Adding allows you to fill in gaps and create unique island features. The Flatten tool works by creating plateaued areas to the specified height on this slider. This is great for creating seemingly man-made areas. Moving on, the next tab is the Post Processes tab. This is where we can run a process that is performed across the whole terrain. Fixing seams will patch up any rips that can occasionally appear when you do a lot of sculpting. Smoothing will apply a filter over the whole terrain to give it a more eroded and smoother look. Think of how pebbles are rounded off by erosion from the sea. Removing orphans will get rid of any of those little bits of terrain that are sometimes generated from the randomness imposed by the noise. The slider here tells the process how large a separated piece of terrain can be to still be considered an orphan and removed. Now we have an interesting shape we are happy with, we can move on to the Material tab. This allows us to paint textures and details onto the island's surface. The island can have a total of 4 layers that can be painted on top of each other to create a good amount of detail. Choose a layer and use the paintbrush tool to paint directly onto the island. The eraser will move just the selected layer, and the paint bucket will flood fill the entire island with a single click. The layers can be edited by clicking the little spanner icon here. This will reveal the settings and show how the layers have slightly different functionality. Inside the layer edit, you can change the texture used and the color which will tint the selected texture. Layers 1 and 2 have multiple texture blocks you can edit. They will paint different textures depending on whether you are painting on the top, the side, or the underneath of the island. There's a lot of potential for customization here, and the best way to get a handle of the material options is to get painting and play with the options to experiment with the output. The final tab is for placing objects onto the island. The list in the lower part of the sidebar contains all the assets available sorted into categories. Simply selecting one and clicking on the island will place it. You can see the exact position and rotation the new object will be at by the transparent preview. The settings in the top part of the sidebar control various placement options. Surface Align will always align the object to the angle of the terrain. Turning it off will make objects default to pointing straight up. This is useful for trees as they always grow upwards. The randomize options here will change the rotation and scale of the object each time one is placed. The continuous option will allow you to hold the mouse button down and paint objects onto the island without having to click for each instance. Very useful for large areas of grass or rocks. You can remove objects with the Erase tool. A continuous mode is available for removing many objects in one movement. There is also a mass place option, which will randomly place a large amount of the same object across the whole island with a single click. The options have the same functionality, except the addition of a count, which is how many objects you want to create. You can select multiple different types of objects in mass place mode to randomly place a variety of objects at once. The final tool in this tab is the Manual Edit mode, which is the little cursor button here. When in this mode, you can click to select any object you placed and manually move, rotate, and scale using the controls at the top of the screen. When an object is selected, you can use the keyboard key F to frame the object with the camera. This allows for much easier editing. Now you've got something resembling a completed island. The last option on this row is the test mode. Click on this, then wherever you click the mouse on the island, a character will be spawned, and you can run around and explore your island as you would in the full game. The only thing left to do now is save your island, and if you're confident with your creation, upload it to the Steam Workshop to allow others to test it and rate it. That about covers the basics of creating an island from scratch. Thanks to everyone for watching. We are really excited to see what you can make with our tool, and we can't wait to start adding user-created content to the game. If you liked the video, be sure to subscribe to the Worlds Adrift YouTube channel for regular content. You can also sign up to our forum for the latest news from the game and the community. Goodbye.